Don't push me too far. Desperately, I've gotta know if you want me. Just let me know. I go crazy with all of the things that you do. I'm mad about you. I'm so angry inside, and it's all about you. I'm mad about you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Emile's Corner. Hope you're all enjoying your weekend. And like I mentioned in my post a day or two ago on Facebook, I said I'd be back with more material for you guys. Well, hey, I'm a guy that tries to walk the talk as much as I can, and here I am back with new material for everybody watching and listening and following. Today, we're going to cover a very good hard rock band that I think needs a much more attention into the mainstream public here. That band, who is still performing, by the way, is called Slaughter. You heard it right. It's Slaughter. Don't confuse it with Slayer. That's a different band, heavy metal. Here we're talking about hard rock band Slaughter. So a little bit about the origins of the band. The band was formed in late 1988 by the two founding members, who are Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum, who previously were part of the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. And Vinnie Vincent Invasion, there was some issues with the record company, and it turned out that Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum called it there and decided to found new band Slaughter. And then the four members that were part of the band was Mark Slaughter, Dana Strum, Tim Kelly, and Blas Elias. So their first album came out in 1990, and it's called Stick It To Ya. I have that album. Very good album. I really enjoy that album. One thing I can tell you about that album before I start playing a few passages of the material that's on this album is that it is a very feel good type album. First of all, Mark Slaughter's vocals, I find them pretty original. They're pretty good, and I'm not going to say more than that. I mean, you'll listen through the passages that I will play there. That it's quite a unique voice, and it really puts on to the originality of the band, in my opinion. The guitars are good, and it's a feel-good album in a way that, listen, it's hard rock, and I personally think that anyone can end up enjoying this album. I play it in my car when I'm driving on a long road, and it really suits well, with the environment, the road, the sun, and it's just it makes the drive very pleasant. Also, I mean, if you have a barbecue event or in a pub, if you're spending a nice evening socializing in a nice classy pub there with a good crowd, well, if you put Slaughter, say, in a jukebox, I think your evening will really be enjoyable at the pub, and you'll really have a good time. So really, it's like I say, it's feel-good music. So a little bit about the album, Stick It To Ya. Well, first of all, the album was certified platinum, and a few songs, it came out in 1990. I'm not sure if I mentioned. So a few songs that were on this album is Spend My Life, Up All Night, Mad About You, and Fly to the Angels. So on the US Billboard, Fly to the Angels was the most successful one. It's quite a power ballad, and it made it to number 19 on the Billboard 100. Then Up All Night made it to number 27, and Spend My Life made it to number 39. So the first song I would like to play to you guys is actually the song Mad About You. Very good song. Actually, sorry, before I play that, I'd like to play the opening song of the album, Eye to Eye. Okay. Slaughter, in this album and the next album that they released in 1992 that I will talk about in just after these passages are through in a few moments there. Slaughter got quite an original opening to their albums, and you will see there's often like some kind of background guitar type music, or really an opening theatrical scene, kind of the two combined together, which really adds on also to the originality of the band's material, and which I think makes it pretty good. And Eye to Eye is you'll see, like, you will hear a quick a theatrical opening, a quick guitar solo, and then the guitars will kick in, and Mark Slaughter's first verse starts, and I think it's brilliantly made. Also, one thing about this album is that it's very simple. I mean, it's not a very complicated album. Like, you don't have a lot of you don't have, let's say, too many. How can I say it? Synthesizers are not part of it, not too much anyway, and a lot of it is just voice and guitars, and just your average percussions and bass. Basically what a simple rock band is. The songs are not too long. It's not too theatrical, like I say. It's just down to earth. Pretty quick bass, and very, very nice and easy to listen to. So I'm going to start with the opening of Eye to Eye, and a verse, and you in a bit of the chorus, and you'll see. I will get back to you right after this there. And hey, like I said, feel free to add, after you watch all this, feel free to add any comments, or if you want to message me for anything about this and we can discuss, it'll be my pleasure. So here's the opening of Eye to Eye. Enjoy.
Ready or not, here we come, gonna set this satellite. The boys are ready, wild to rock, gonna turn it out tonight. Oh yeah, I'm right with you.
Well, what do you guys think? Isn't that cool or what? I think it's pretty cool, in my opinion. But feel free to drop me a message or a comment, and hey, let me know. Let me know what you think. I really want to know what you guys think about all this material. And we can discuss. It'd be my pleasure. So that was Eye to Eye. Now, the second track that I'm going to play a passage of is called Mad About You, off of the same album, Stick It To You, that came out in 1990. And that song, Mad About You, again, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, four guys, one good singer and rhythm guitarist at the same time, one lead guitarist, one bassist, and one drummer. And that kind of song, Mad About You, it's the kind of song, and you'll hear it. It's the kind of song that would be really, really fun to listen to live, in a concert, when everybody's having a good time at a festival, where you got lots of bands playing, and it's really, like I said, I mean, it's simple, it's feel good, and I think this song "Mad About You" would be a great song to see live. So here's a passage of it, and I will get back to you in just a bit right after that. Enjoy.
No, 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 what you doing to me? Only you drive me wild, you're my ecstasy. Can't you tell by the look in my eyes that I love you? Oh, I gotta show you what I feel in my heart, 'cause I knew it's right from the start that
That was Mad About You that you just heard a passage of. Again, what do you think? Let me know your comments. Very good song, very feel good song, kind of song you'd play in a pub, and everybody would just have a good time. So now I'm going to move on to a third track called "Desperately." And what really catches my musical ear in that song is when you hear the chorus. Obviously, you got Mark Slaughter's great voice, and the guitars are pretty good, pretty simple, but it's really good to hear. And same reasons as before, guys. I don't want to sound like a broken record here or beat a dead horse, but I'm gonna play a part of this song desperately, and I'll get back to you right after.
You never say what's on your mind. Just have a heart and lay it out on the line anytime, night or day. Just call me up and I'll be on my way. The clock strikes midnight. I don't know where you are. The clock strikes, it's alright. Just tell me, honey, don't push me too far. Desperately, I've gotta know if you want me. Just let me know. Desperately, give me an answer. Can't you see I'm here for you? Oh, please don't run away. Don't run.
That was "Desperately" by Slaughter, still off of the album "Stick It to You" that came out in 1990. And we will finish that first block there with one last song. It was their hit, actually, "Up All Night," which is a nice song about, like they say, being up all night, and basically song about partying. But uh, you'll see. I mean, the intro is pretty good, and you hear like some kind of maybe kids singing in the street there, and pretty original. Also, the way the guitar mixes in at the beginning, and then when Mark Slaughter sings the first verse, and then the transition to the chorus is pretty good too, because you don't just hear the hard guitar, but then you hear another lighter sound of a guitar that mixes in. So pretty no pretty good song, pretty interesting song. Here's a passage from it. Enjoy, and I'll get back to you after this one, and we'll talk about their next album that came out in 1992.
When evening comes, I am alive. I love to prowl around in the streets. It's the moonlight controls my mind. Now I've got the power to speak. Yeah. Away from dusk to dawn. Watching the city lights. There'll be shining down on you and I'll hold you till the morning light. Everybody sing it now. Up all night, sleep all day. Up all night, sleep all day. That's right.
So you just heard "Up All Night" by Slaughter, which was the second most successful track on their first album, "Stick It to You," that came out in 1990. So, folks, this wraps up the first block of material that I wanted to present to my audience here with regards to that first album. Which, by the way, was certified double platinum in the United States and platinum in Canada. Now we're gonna jump to the year 1992, and before I talk about the album "The Wildlife" that came out in 1992, Slaughter has released a song called Shout It Out. It's for the movie Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Do you guys remember this movie at all that came out in the early 90s there? It stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Summers. And there was two of these movies, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I can't remember which one comes before the other, but I know it was one was a sequel to the other. And William Sadler actually started in one of the two as the Reaper, and that was Keanu Reeves' early work there. Original movie, nice. Very original. I mean, I can vaguely remember it, but anyway, that's on a side note. Back to the music. Shout It Out. Yeah, it's for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey by Slaughter, and it's a nice rock party song. It only made it to the number 69, to the U.S. Billboard's number 69 position, which I think should be higher because, like I said, it's a really cool song. But the music video, I think, wasn't officially, I think, released or anything. You can probably find it on YouTube, most probably, but give it a try. So that was for Shout It Out. Now, the album The Wildlife that came out in 1992. This album, some songs have got a bit more synthesizers. Okay, there's two songs that I want to present. The first one is Reach for the Sky, which is the opening song on the album. And that song, actually, it's pretty badass. Like you'll see the way it opens. There, you hear a bass and a guitar just slowly building and building and building, and then Mark Slaughter's voice kicks in and the guitars and with the first verse, and then the second song that I want to present, Real Love, it's a bit more of a ballad with some synthesizers. But before I get to that, here's the opening and a verse of Reach for the Sky, and I'll get back to you right after. Enjoy.
You can run, but you can't hide. Just another day in the rat race. It seems like you're far behind. So tell me what you're gonna do. So you're feeling down and out, and it seems like you got the future. Never know what you will find. So tell me what you're gonna do.
So, what do you guys think? That was Reach for the Sky by Slaughter on the Wildlife album. I think, like I said, pretty badass. The hard rock that you listen to here is very good quality, in my opinion, with the way the guitars slowly build and transition into the verse. One correction that I'd like to make on what I said earlier, my apologies, is on the song Shout It Out that appeared in the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack. I said the song made it to number 69. Sorry about that. The song did not make it to the charts. I just validated. The song never made it to the charts, but a music video was released. Okay, so sorry about that little mistake there. Just thought I'd give you the real facts. So that was for that. Now let's listen to a passage of the song "Real Love." It's a bit more synthesizers this time in this song, but still gives it a good rock edge to it. So I want you to hear the verse of that song, and again a reminder. Feel free to drop me a comment on my page if you want to discuss anything. If you got special requests, if you have questions or anything, it'll be my pleasure to get you some answers for you, and just have a chat if about anything else that you would like to hear that you think is underrated or should have had more attention. On the screen will appear my link there at Emile's Great Music on Facebook. That's Emile's Corner page, to which you can let me know whatever you want me to discuss with you. Okay, so here's Real Love. Enjoy. That was a sample of Real Love from the album The Wildlife that was released in 1992, which was certified gold in the US and platinum here in Canada. So that wraps up my second block of material that I wanted to present to you guys for Slaughter's work. And after this album in 1993, there was some complications, internal complications, legal battles with Tim Kelly, and whole complications that I'm not going to spend too much time talking about. I mean, that's not really the point of these episodes. Also, EMI Records were buying out a lot of production companies back then, and they bought out the one that Slaughter was part of. They bought out Chrysalis Records, and unfortunately, Slaughter got dropped from EMI and signed on with CMC International. And because of the complications, there was delays into releasing the third album. So, but finally, Fear No Evil came out in 1995, and album only performed good in Japan, unfortunately. There was one song on the album that was noticed there. It's called Searchin'. I heard the song myself, and I think it's a good song. Again, like I've said before, it's a kind of song that you can easily play in a pub or with friends, and if you're out there having a good time, a good social time, the song really fits well. Uh, so it's of the same style too. So unfortunately, didn't the song didn't score good, but like I said, I think it's a great song when you're socializing with people. So then came two more albums. In 1997 came Revolution, and then shortly after this album, in 1998, sadly enough, Tim Kelly passed away. He died in a car accident in the Amazon desert. Sad story, but was later replaced. And in 1999, Back to Reality was released. But since then, Slaughter has been mostly active in tours, a lot of tours. So we're going to talk about the tours here a little bit, just to wrap up this episode. In 1999, they were part of the Rock Never Stops tour. Rock Never Stops is a show that has spanned from 1998 to 2005, which regroups a lot of glam metal and hard rock bands from the 80s and 90s, from that era, basically the pre grunge era. So it's a regrouping of band into a festival. I mean, I've never been to that show. I can't say much more than that. So I know Slaughter were actively part of that tour. In 2000, they were part of the Poison, Cinderella, Dawkins, and Slaughter tour. And stay tuned for a bit there. I may release some material about Dawkins. Dawkins, I think, also is a pretty good band for glam metal, hair metal band. But that was just in a side note. Also, Slaughter had a lot of their work featured in multiple compilations, ballads of the 80s, power ballads of the 80s, hard hitters, all these compilation CDs that you can find in the stores back then and now on iTunes and other social media tools that you can purchase music from. So a lot of compilations. And in 2001, they were part of the Voices of Metal tour with Rat, Vixen, Motley Crue as well. So there, Slaughter remains to be known within the hard rock glam metal industry from fellow bands that they tour with. In 2004, they've released a DVD called Then and Now, which features 12 songs and 50 rare photos of the band throughout the time. And 2007, Rocklahoma was another festival they were part of. 2017, Monsters of Rock tour with the other bands. So again, tours, tours, tours. They continue to tour. They're a good band to see in a festival of many bands. I mean, if you want to broaden your music tastes, I think Slaughter is a good choice. So this is in conclusion here to this episode. I think Slaughter is a good choice if you want to broaden your music taste. Their music is simple, feel good, easy to listen to. Good lyrics. Mark Slaughter has an original voice, which really adds on to the band's originality, like I said. And also, I noticed one thing uh, in their music. If you want to learn guitar, I think there's quite a few Slaughter songs that would be a good starting point for all you future guitar players out there. Because again, I mean, what makes Slaughter's material so good is that it's simple and down to earth, not too lengthy, not too theatrical, and not too emotional. Too just it's a have a good time music. So, folks, this concludes this episode of Emile's Corner. I wanted to present Slaughter. Slaughter is a well-known band within the hard rock industry, but to me, I would definitely like them to be appreciated by a broader audience. I think they deserve a lot better. So I've hoped you've enjoyed this episode of the Mills Corner with Slaughter, and stay tuned for more material to come. Take care. Have a good one.